Hello and welcome back to Bramble and Wild's YouTube channel. Today we are going to be taking a look at our wreath kit box. So this one is for the wild wreath. It's a really lovely kind of Nordic inspired white and green, very rustic, very natural wreath. And I think it might be my favourite. So let's take a look at what is in the box to start with. This is how you receive it if you order it through the post. And everything that you see here in this box is what you're going to receive in your box too. So we've got some really gorgeous twiggy bits. So they're going to make our wreath look really nice and wild. We have got blue spruce, and there's a few branches of that hiding. And we've got fir. And it's all ready for you guys to cut up yourselves. And we've got some Nordman pine. This one's really nice because we use this on the lighter side and the darker side too. More blue spruce, more pine, and then this is a cypress fir as well. This is really nice because you've got the little bubbles on it as well. So you can see you get a nice lot in here. Then we've got your wreath frame, so that is bagged up to keep everything in the box dry. So that's your fresh mossed wreath frame. Then there's the decorations, a ball of twine, a stem of cotton, some dried bunny tails, we've got pine cones, amazing, all fits in the box really, lotus pods, more pine cones, a roll of a little packet of wires, and we've got lemon slices and ribbon. So that's everything that comes in your box. Everything you need to make the wreath is all included. What we're going to do is start cutting up our foliage. Now I like to cut all of mine to start with. I cut it all up into bits and then I can just grab it as I go along. It means I have a much less regimented wreath. It's a lot more natural. I'm using a pair of our Sacajin scissors. You can buy these as an add-on on your kit, but they're not included as it comes. So the twigs you don't need to cut up. And then what we're going to do is start off with the top with all of our foliage and cut it into pieces around 10 to 12 centimetres long. No bigger than that, because if it's any longer, we're going to end up with a really massive wreath. And whilst you might think that's a good idea, A, you'll run out of foliage, and B, you'll end up with no hole in the middle. So this kind of size we want. And what we'll do is just cut all the way down all of the foliages, and you can treat them all the same. Just cut all the way down through. You might need a pair of secateurs if you choose not to go for these scissors, but a really nice strong pair of snips will make your life a lot easier. Kitchen scissors are not going to cut it with this. Once we get to the spruces, they're a little bit similar. You can cut off fingers for these. So we like to call these bits hands and these bits fingers. So just cut the fingers all the way off. And then if you've got a piece like, cut that woody piece off. If you've got a bit like this, where you've got lots of little pieces on there and they are not too long, you can use that in its entirety. Same with that one. That one's the same. But that one there is a little bit long, so I'll cut him down. The blue spruce is the same. And I cut that one. This one's a little bit more handy. So you've got much smaller hands on this one, so we can use those whole. Apart from that's too tall. Now don't forget to watch your fingers when you're doing this, because the scissors and secateurs are all very sharp. Okay, I like to use as much as I can. So that's all I'm putting in the compost heap. What I'll do afterwards is I'll just snip this into smaller pieces and it'll go straight on the compost heap. So roll your sleeves up. I suggest not wearing anything too fluffy because the moss will stick to it, and also some of these have quite a sticky sap and it will not come out of clothes. So wear something kind of old that doesn't matter too much. And then what you want to do is start off with your twine. So tie it around anywhere you like on the wreath ring and put it in a nice double knot so it's nice and secure. Keep the twine really tight and keep it close to your body, and make it so that you're keeping the wreath ring you're putting the foliage at the base basically. Don't put it at the top, it's much more awkward, it's harder for your arms. Keep it this way and then you can pop it in much more easily. And what we're going to do is start off with really simple little bundles of foliage. So I might just gather 3 pieces together, and you'll see I'm using the Nordman on the silvery side for this. And what I'm going to do is just place it on the inside of my wreath. Pull really tight, once round, all you need. And then pick up another bundle. So I'm going to go with those 2 this time. And put that one on the top. Keep the string really short. Down and pull. Now I'm lifting mine up because it's easier to show you, but I suggest you keep it as flat on the table as you can all the time. It makes it much easier. And then another bundle, and then this bundle is going on the outside. So you can see there's one on the inside, one on the top, but there's a gap there. So we want to put our last bundle on the outside. Now don't forget the outside or the inside, because you'll end up with a wreath that only has foliage along the top and you will still see the moss. And the idea is that we want to see no moss unless it's on the back of the door. Okay, so that's our first rung. The second rung, we're going to grab another little bundle of foliage, and this time I'm going to start adding the twigs in. Don't actually cut these to size, just bend them back on themselves. Add them into the bundle, and this time I'm going to start on the outside. And I'm going to go about 2 inches down from the first one and pull. Another bundle. Sometimes you'll find that you need a big bundle and you've got a big gap, and sometimes you'll find that you've got a little gap and then you only need a tiny bit of foliage. So that one went on the top, and then my last one, that nice little hand there, is going on the inside. So you can see I'm starting to build up the wreath in layers. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the camera closer and you can watch the rest of it much closer up. Now you can see a little bit better. We are going to keep adding all of our foliage on here until we have a fully formed wreath. Okay, now you'll see that we've nearly finished our wreath and we have a little gap here which still needs filling. This is where you have to pay attention a little bit more, because we need to fill it, but we need to not bind this piece of foliage in. You'll have seen all the way around that in a few places I didn't make whole bundles. If the piece of foliage was big enough in the first place, then I just used it as one. And I also snipped a little bit of foliage out of my centre as well, because it just got a little bit too fluffy in there. So, some more bundles, and what we need to start doing now is keeping our hand underneath the first bit of foliage. Still placing our bundles like before, making sure that all of that first lot of foliage that went in is kept out of the binding. Now I'm going to pull this last piece of string really tight, turn my wreath over, and now we need to tie a knot. So find your copper wire again and push your twine through the copper wire. You might need your scissors for this little bit just to get it through, because sometimes the moss is quite tight. Hold one side of the loop and then double knot it over the loop, and this will give you a nice little starting point to hang on your door with. So I'm just going to go through and just double check it all over here. I can add a few extra little bits in if I've got a gap anywhere, and all you need to do is feel the crunch. So get a nice strong piece of foliage, something with a very tough woody stem, push it straight into the moss, keeping your nice rhythm, or anti-clockwise or clockwise rhythm through the whole wreath, and push it through so that you hear that little crunch as it's going into the moss. And there we have it, all finished. Okay, next up is the fun bit. We are going to get decorating. So we've got pine cones. You'll have 5 in your box. I've got a few blue peter ready here. But what you need to do is grab one of your wires from your little pack and twist it around the bottom of the spines, and that will hold it in place tight enough so that it's not going to fall out of the wreath. What I'm going to do is make sure that all of my wires are coming through the moss, and then I'm going to tuck them back up in as well. You can just see it there. That means that we're not going to damage the back of the door when we put the wreath on as well. So you can see each pine cone is going in, and I'm turning it over or just feeling underneath to check that the wire's not coming through. That's really important because we don't want any scratched doors. So in with the cones. And next up is coming the lotus pods. Lotus pods are quite papery, so we do want to be quite careful with these. You're going to push your wire straight through the base, and then holding your fingers on the little stem end, just make a hairpin and then fold the wire back over itself. I'm going to use 2 here. I quite like them grouped together because they're quite big, so they're quite focal. You have got 3 in your pack, but I'm not going to use my 3rd one, but you might want to. Next up is lemon slices. So these are a bit darker than orange slices. I really like these because they're great for the more wintry looking wreaths. And those ones, we're just popping the wire either side of the rind and then making a hairpin again and twisting it together to keep it in place. That's bunny tails. So these are already dried as well. And they're a grass, which we grow here, but we've also got some from our Dutch suppliers. And these ones are a little bit more delicate, so you can't just push them in on their stems. Unfortunately, you do need to wire them, but again, I'm just making a hairpin around the base and popping them in. Making sure that everything goes through the moss and sticks in there nice and tight. Next up is the cotton. I've just cut 3 off of the main stem. I've pushed the wire over its initial little seed casing, and I can pop them in like everything else. Just snip them off the main stem there, and you can use as many as you like. There's usually about 4 or 5 on each stem, and I think they look like little bundles of snow in your wreath. Absolutely love them. And then we've got the final piece of decoration on your wreath, which is the finishing touch, and that is the velvet ribbon. So we've got a thin turquoise and a thicker green. I'm just going to bundle those together so that they're in a nice little group, and then you can either find the top or the bottom or the side. You can put the ribbon wherever you like. That is the beauty of these kits. You can do whatever you like once you've got it all. This is just a demonstration to give you an idea of what you can do. So I'm choosing to put mine in at the top. And then once your wreath is outside on your door, these are going to blow in the wind and look absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much for watching our latest video. I hope you enjoyed the kit, and I hope you love your Christmas wreath as well. If you have any questions at all, feel free to pop them in the comment section below, or send us a DM on Instagram. We're at Bramble and Wild, and we look forward to seeing everything that you make in your kits. If you like this video, please give us a subscribe and a like so we can make more videos for you. Happy wreathing!